But if I can see, we can get going, because we do have a second one of these today yet, too.
I knew her, but I didn't see her.
Okay. If I can have everybody's attention, we're going to go ahead and get started. If there are questions, we'll try to answer them. If I can't answer them, Carolyn is here. Hopefully she can answer them. If she can't answer them, we're in trouble. We are going to record this because I know there are some people at a conference. We will put it on the Q drive. It can be watched later. This PowerPoint will be out there for you to review as well. As always, if you have questions, all you have to do is ask. If we don't have the answer right away, we will find it for you. Okay, so we're going to be talking about health insurance for 2016, which will be here before you know it. This form should look familiar. It is the same application form you've seen before. It's also the change form. So if you have any changes this year, you want to make sure you put the date, your employment status, you're all active employees, y'all work here. Make sure you check that area. If there is a change, which is the only reason you'd be filling this out this year, is if there's a change. The date the change occurred, there was a new baby, you're dropping somebody from the coverage, there are other changes, you need to date that. Tobacco use, yes, no. And then what you're signing up for. There's a big X through this area which makes it confusing, but you know, we're talking, help me out here, we've got,
We don't handle the
we
line.
don't handle that, okay, so you don't need that section, the life insurance, never mind. Okay, if you have dependents on this, other people on the form besides you, make sure that you fill that area out too. Their birthday, their gender, are they tobacco users? Is the last name different? What's their first name? And their social security number, that's important. And then sign and date this page. If you're waiving the coverage, this is the section you fill out. If you are waiving the coverage, you have to fill out this section. So it's not just, I'm waiving the coverage, I don't have anything to turn in. I'm waiving the coverage, I have to fill this part out. And then the HSA form, which you should have all gotten by email. If you didn't, we have extra forms of all this here. Julie is great, she brought a whole pile of them for you. And again, if you're waiving or declining this, in this case it's declination, you have to fill this out. And check that box right there, the arrow's pointing to me saying, I decline to participate. This is the form that authorizes the payroll deduction for the HSA. Okay, so you've got all that paperwork done, and that's the question is, what the heck is the paperwork for? Well, there's an HRA and an HSA, which sound really similar, but they actually are different. Both of them are funding mechanisms, though, to help you pay medical expenses. The HSA is a health savings account. It helps you save towards paying those bills. The HRA is a health reimbursement arrangement that the board has put together. This is very generous. A lot of employers don't have these kinds of things. What this does is it reimburses you after you have paid a portion of the deductible. In this case, half of it. So you pay the first half of your deductible, you turn in your EOBs, and then the reimbursement starts. And we're going to explain all this step by step here as we go along. So how does it work? Well, if you're single, you have single coverage, first thing you do is you want to open that HSA account. That's what that form was for, authorize the payroll deduction. Open that account if you don't already have one through us. The board is going to contribute $1,440 to your account throughout the course of the year. Not all at once, that would be huge. You don't have to, but the maximum amount that the IRS, for people under 55, can contribute in a year is an additional $1,910. So the IRS maximum amount that can be put into your HSA in 1 year is $3,350 for a single person. It's a different amount for families. You notice there's a little red star there. I'll get to that in a second. As the bills come in, you're going to pay them out of your HSA. That's money you've set aside. It's a savings account for health expenses. and you have your debit card that you get with the account, you can order checks, you're gonna pay that first $2,600. Now you'll notice it's $2,600 this year, not $2,500, so that is a change, it did go up a little bit. If you're 55 or older, you can actually contribute more to the HSA. They give you an additional $1,000, the IRS will let you put in to that. So if you're 55 or older, you can contribute more. Again, you don't have to, this is, you can. Okay, so you've got the HSA, the bills are starting to come in, now what do? Before you pay anything, wait until you get your explanation of benefits. It's called an EOB. It will come in the mail to your home, whatever address they have on file, which should be your home. It'll be several pages long usually. It'll show you where you are in your deductible. It will show you what procedure, appointment, or prescription that you just had done. It will show you how much it costs retail. It will show you how much the insurance covers or pays. And then it will show you what you owe. So don't pay the bill you get from the doctor, the hospital, or the pharmacy right away, because you'll be paying more if you pay that bill than if you wait until you get your EOB. Typically, the amount is smaller. So you get they send out the bill for services. Your EOB is going to show you how much the insurance covered. Insurance companies negotiate with providers what they consider an acceptable amount. So it's always lower. So let's say you had a procedure done, it was an office visit, it was $120 more if you didn't have coverage. Well, the insurance company may have negotiated that down, so it's really only $65. That's the amount you want to pay, not the going retail, I don't have coverage. So then you pay that bill, whatever that portion may be, out of your HSA. Okay, then what? So you want to save your EOBs. You do not throw them away. Don't lose them. You could potentially need them for an income tax audit, God forbid. And if your expenses exceed the first phase of the deductible, that first $2,600, you're going to want them for that too. You need to track that. For the second $2,400, because let's keep in mind, for a single person, the deductible is $5,000. Okay, for the second portion, that $2,400, that's where the HRA comes in. You pay the first part, and then you get reimbursed for the second chunk. It's a reimbursement arrangement. Now, if you use all of it, the whole deductible, the whole $5,000, you may end up paying up to about $275 over that first $2,600, maybe, depending on what's allowable, what the insurance company says they'll cover, what they don't cover. But we're looking at the most beyond that first $2,600 that you may be responsible for as a single person is $275. And that can be paid out of your HSA. That's allowable. There are things that aren't allowable. Used to be, you could go to the pharmacy when you had a really bad cold, you could buy NyQuil, you could get all over-the-counter stuff, and your HSA will pay for it. They don't do that anymore. So, you've incurred these expenses, you're getting these EOBs, you're getting buried in paper. What do? You submit those EOBs to CBA, to Carolyn's company. This is the only way that you're going to get the HRA to work. You have to submit them. And the best thing to do is submit them as you get them. Don't hold them until the end of the year and hope you have all of them and then burn up the fax machine or clog the email trying to send them all in. You get 50 pages of paper and try to send them all in. They come printed double-sided. You might not copy them out to their single. It could be a mess. The best thing to do is send them in as you go. That way, your progress towards your deductible is tracked, and we'll know right when the HRA should kick in. Okay. So once you meet that first portion and exceed it, you start getting charges over that $2,600, CBA is going to send you a check for the board's portion of the amount spent over the $2,600. Basically, they're going to send you a check out of your HRA. The percentage that the board is kicking in at that point is 89%. Notice that's higher than previously. 89% of the amount spent over $2,600, which is all but about 275 bucks, give or take a little bit. With the money you get from CBA, which is your HRA, and your HSA account, then you pay the doctor or the hospital or whomever. All of your costs beyond that $5,000 deductible, unless it's something really off the wall, will typically be covered by Medical Mutual. Now you can go online to their website and you can get the whole benefit book. You know how they used to send you these big benefit books? They were great, they had all this information. They don't do that anymore. You have to print it out. But it is on the website. You log in under your account in there and you can print it out. It'll give you all that information. Okay, so that's single coverage. Now we're going to go into family coverage. The family deductible is still $10,000, just like it was last year. And again, you open or maintain an HSA account. The board kicks in a portion, in this case $23.45, to your account throughout the course of the year. You may contribute an additional $43.05 to that account. The IRS cap on what you can contribute in the course of a year for a family HSA, as you can see, is $6,750. That went up by 100 bucks for this year. So the IRS is letting families sock a little more money away, but not single people. And again, as the bills come in, you pay them out of your HSA, and the first portion of this one, instead of $2,600, is $5,200. No, it's a little bit more than half. And again, if you're 55 or older, as an employee who's 55 or older, you can contribute an additional $1,000 on top of that $6,750 to that account. Same thing as before. Before you pay, wait for the EOBs. I can't stress how important that is. I didn't do that one time, ended up just knee-jerk paying bills, went along, paid a bill, overpaid it. Took 6 months to get the overpayment back. You don't want to do that. So, as before, the provider's going to send you a bill. They're going to also bill the insurance company. The insurance company is going to tell you what is the acceptable rate. That's going to show on the EOB, and it's going to show you again what you owe for it. And that will be typically lower than what the original charge was. You want to make sure you get that negotiated rate. These are high deductible plans, so you want to get your savings wherever you can. That negotiated rate is a good thing. So again, you pay out of your HSA with a check or a debit card for the first portion of the deductible, which is, there's a typo, $2,600 per single people per family member. So again, remember, with the family plan, we have this wonderful thing that the entire family doesn't have to meet at $5,200. An individual within the family, it's called the embedded deductible, remember that? Can hit the $2,600. Or the family as a whole hits the $52. We're going to get to, I'm going to try and explain that, and if I can't do it, Carolyn's going to jump in. So you say, again, you save your EOBs. You might need them for an income tax audit, again, God forbid. And if your expenses exceed that first phase of the deductible, because you want to track that. Every once in a while, you'll have thought you sent in all your EOBs, there might be one missing, you'll think you've met the deductible, CBA will say, yeah, no, not quite, we're missing this amount. You go look back through, oh yeah, there was one more. So you want to keep a copy of everything yourself, don't just send it in and forget about it. Okay, for the second $2,400 per family member, or $4,800 per family, remember we got $2,652. This is where the HRA kicks in. The board will share the cost with the employee through the HRA, just like they did with the single people. So, the employee will pay up to $800 of the cost over the $26 per family member, or $52 per family, and the board will pay the rest. As we saw before, if you were single, Your potential up to out of pocket beyond the first chunk was $275. The up to potential out of pocket beyond the first chunk in the family is $800. Okay, this is that embedded deductible I was just mentioning. So again, the total deductible for the entire family is $10,000. For individuals within the family, it's $5,200. So that's where we get the 26 and the 52, at 52 and 10. Per individual family member, you pay the first portion out of the HSA and the second portion through the HRA. This is the same way it worked last year. It was very confusing, I'm sure, for everybody, and we tried to present it last year. I don't think we quite captured what it really means. Hopefully this year we will. If not, come see me. So, per family, if no individual on their own reaches the $2,600 level, you've got a couple of claims here or there in a family of 4, but no one person has hit the 26, then they're going to look at the family as a whole. And when they're looking at the family as a whole, they're looking at the whole deductible of $10,000, which means the family as a whole's magic number to hit for the HRA is $5,200. If you had one family member that hit that $2,600 deductible, that first half, that changes the game. The entire family doesn't, each individual have to hit that 26 for the HRA to kick in. This is the first place I've ever seen that does it this way. This is a really good way to do it. It takes a lot of the burden off of families, especially families that have that one family member who has serious health conditions. So again, you submit your EOBs as you go along to CBA for both the first, for the family member or the whole family. Just turn them in as you go. They'll track them for you. They're great at doing that. I've worked with them in prior employers. They are great at doing that. They will keep track of where you are in your deductibles. They will keep track of when your HRA will kick in. You have to do your part by sending them the paperwork so they can do theirs. And again, they will send you a check for the board's portion, which in the family case is 83%. And that's an increase, I believe, over last year. Up to, of the amount spent over the $2,600 for a family member or $5,200 per family, up to the $10,000. And again, with the money you receive from CBA, which is your HRA, and your HSA, then you can pay your bills. And again, all costs over the $10,000 deductible, unless it is something experimental or completely strange that Medical Mutual says, yeah, we don't like that, will be covered. Okay, so how are you eligible for all this stuff? Well, if you work an average of 30 hours or more per week, you would be eligible. The Affordable Care Act made sure that everybody who works 30 hours or more per week was eligible for health coverage if offered by the employer, which we do. So to be eligible for the HSA portion of the funding, you must not have other health insurance and must not be claimed as a dependent on someone else's tax return. So to have an HSA, you have to meet those requirements. You're not eligible to be claimed as a dependent by someone else, and you don't have other coverage. If you are 65 or older and you have not yet signed up for Medicare, you may still have an HSA account. Okay, so the board's contributions. The board will make their first contribution to your HSA in 2016 about mid-January. For new people, for employees new to this plan, the board will pay half of the year's contribution in January and the second half will be paid out monthly. It takes some of the pressure off the budget. Employees already in the HSA, monthly payments will continue as usual. Nothing's going to change. If you've been here this year, you've been part of this program, you should not see a change in that at all.
Charles Bixler, please report to the front lobby. Your right is here. Again, Charles Bixler, please report to the front lobby. Your right is here.
For single folks, the yearly contribution is $1,440, as we said before. $720 is semi-annually, that's the half a year, or $120 a month. If you're in a family plan, it's $23.45, $11.72.50 semi-annually, or $195.42 or $195.48. Why is that in your 20s? I'll let Carolyn figure that one out.
December is 195.38.
Gotcha, thank you. Okay. So this is how the maximum employee contributions look. You've got what the board is paying. Whether you're 55 or older, the board's going to pay a set amount. They're not going to contribute more if you're 55 or older. However, as an employee, you can contribute that extra $1,000. So this is your portion. They're going to put this much in, you put that much in. That breaks out to about $73.46 per pay period. This is the IRS annual total that you're allowed. So if you are 55 or older and you want to capture that whole other $1,000, you would be going from this per pay to that per pay, but you'd also be increasing your nest egg by $1,000. Keep in mind, this HSA account, this is your money. You leave here, this money goes with you. What you've put in and what the board's put in, this is your money. This is your bank account. You don't have to give anything back to the board. For families, same sort of thing. Board has the set amount they're putting in. If you're under 55, that's the maximum you can put in. If you're over 55 or older, that's the maximum you can put in, which breaks out to these numbers per pay, which gives you the IRS contribution levels. Socking away between $4,000 and nearly $8,000 a year towards medical expenses seems like a really good idea. Because you just never know. Okay, other info that you might find important. There are no co-pays in this insurance. You don't go to a doctor and give them $40 to cover the appointment. There are no co-pays. That appointment will be billed in its entirety to the insurance company. You'll get an EOB. It will tell you how much you owe. Typically about that time, the doctor will send you a second bill with the amount that you owe on it. If you do make a mistake and you pay a bill out of your HSA that isn't medically allowable, it's not on the list of things that you can use an HSA for, we have what's called an OOPS form. It's a mistaken distribution form. Come in, Martha has them in her office. We can, I believe they're online. We can get them on, I don't know if they're in the P drive, but we have them available. You fill out that form and send that money back into your HSA. When January arrives, keep track of your deductible limits. Start watching your money. You should do that all along, really, not just in January. So what if for some reason you can't have an HSA? You saw that you're covered by another insurance somewhere else, somebody claims you as a deductible, then what? You still have insurance here too, maybe, as a secondary, perhaps. But if there's a reason where you don't want to have an HSA or you can't for some reason, go ahead and decline that feature. The HRA still exists to a point. You still pay the employee's share of the remaining deductible after the first chunk, whether that's $2,600, $5,200, however that works for you. You're still responsible for that. And you're also responsible for this much of the remaining deductible. Okay, so you've paid the first chunk. You, for the second chunk, instead of that $275 or $800, you're looking at $1,160 or $2,855, if I'm understanding that correctly. So after you've met the first chunk, the board then shares the balance of the remaining deductible through the HRA. Again, submit your EOBs. Okay. So we screwed up and we took out more money. You don't have to prove to us what bill you paid incorrectly. We don't need to know that. However, be aware that withdrawals that are not documented as qualified medical expenses are subject to income tax. So if you make an oops, you want to get that withdrawal, that wrongful withdrawal form, and you want to put that money back in there. Because if you don't, you could be taxed and pay a penalty. And the penalty is 20% on whatever that was. So not only is it insult to injury that you have to pay tax on it, but then the IRS could potentially fine you on top of that. So be very, very careful with that debit card or that check register. You are responsible, however, to substantiate to the IRS what you spent your money on. You don't have to substantiate to the employer. You don't have to substantiate to CBA. But if the IRS comes calling and asks questions, this is why you keep the EOBs. So that you can answer those questions. You can say, yes, that was a justifiable expense. Yes, I was in the hospital from here to here. Yes, these were the charges. Here's the EOBs. Here's the bills. There you go.
Someone please report to the front lobby for George Morris. Again, someone please report to the front lobby for George Morris.
Again, the HSA is your money. It's your account. It belongs to you. It does not belong to the board. So if, unfortunately you should pass away, the account holder should pass away, the funds in the HSA are transferred to the beneficiary. So it's important to name a beneficiary to your account just like you would any other account that you have. The beneficiary happens to be a surviving spouse, that transfer is tax-free. If the beneficiary is someone other than a surviving spouse, there may be taxes on it. It probably depends. I didn't really look into it that carefully. Okay, so the 20% penalty or fine from the IRS for non-qualified medical expenses would be waived for persons who have reached the age of 65 or become disabled at the time of the withdrawal. So only income tax is going to be paid on the withdrawal itself, that portion, and the account will continue to grow tax-free, similar to an IRA in that regard. You're not going to be taxed on the account, the money that's in there, only on the withdrawal, kind of like an IRA works. And then qualified medical expenses withdrawals are always tax-free. Okay, this year we have something new, but we need 10 people to sign up for it, or we're not going to get it. Vision coverage. VSP is probably the largest provider of vision insurance, at least in this area, if not in the country. Just about every doctor and retail establishment out there takes them. If we get 10 employees to sign up for this, and I don't know how many training forms yet, but we have had a few. 6? Okay, 4 more people. There are 2 plans you can choose from. This is fully funded by you. The board is not contributing to these premiums, but they are paying you. So there are 2 plans to choose from. You can get a basic plan, which is a simple $20 copay towards your exam. You have a $130 allowance on frames or contact lenses. Very simple. You can get an eye exam every 12 months. You can get new lenses every 12 months. You get new frames every 24. I know I changed that. It's 24, not 48. And the rate per month is $11.79, which is roughly $5.90 per pay. It doesn't go evenly, so we're talking to the courthouse about how they want to do that. But the basic plan will cost you less than $12 a month. And it really does help save on glasses. For a family, it will cost $26.68 a month. That is the only number that actually goes in evenly. It will be $13.34 per pay. There's an expanded version. If you would like a little extra benefit, you can pay $20 towards the exam and $20 copay towards your materials. It bumps up $10 on your allowance towards frames, only not towards contact lenses. That stays at $130. But frames, so maybe you can get something a little more snazzy. It goes up to $140 that they'll pay for. Let's say you like $200 frames. They're going to pay $140 towards it. You're responsible for the rest. Contact lenses stay at $130, as I indicated. Progressive lenses are part of this package. They are extra on the basic. Scratch proofing is extra. Tinting is extra. If you want those bells and whistles, you're on your own with those. Again, eye exam every 12 months, lenses every 12 months, frames every 24. Per month, it's a little bit more, obviously. For a single person, it's $12.09 per month, which is approximately $6.05 per pay. For families, it's $27.37, which is approximately $13.69 per pay. And that's pretty much it. If you have questions on medical or dental claims, and keep in mind the dental insurance the board pays for entirely. You can contact Michelle Sims at CBA at that number. Carolyn, is that number working?
No, it's been down for about a week.
It's still down? Okay. If you need to contact them, Carolyn, what is the...
It's the same number, but you use the local area code of 614.
Okay. Cool beans. If you are going to fax your EOBs to them, there's the fax number. You can also email them to claims@cbabenefits.com. VSP coverage, you can find on the VSP
Please
website.
report to Maryland's area with a mop and bucket. Again, someone for maintenance, please report to Maryland's area with a mop and bucket.
What you do is you go to the website, you put in your zip code, and it pulls up everybody that takes VSP. Now, I will tell you that Shawnee Optical does not accept VSP, but I've been told by a couple of people who have been over there that they will match the discounts. You just have to ask for it. Most every other provider in the area does accept VSP, even Walmart. Lens Crafters, according to the VSP website, is not considered an in-network provider. They are an out-of-network provider. So you still get a discount, but you don't get as deep a discount as you do if they were considered an in-network provider. So the best thing to do is to go to VSP.com and look up who you normally have your eye care through and see if they're listed. If they're not listed, call them up and ask them. Many times if they get enough calls, they get enough questions from people saying, hey, why don't you take VSP? They'll switch and they'll start doing that. So Carolyn, you wanted a few moments?
Oh, I think you hit on everything. The only thing I would add is there's a little more detail on vision over on the table, and I brought stuff on EAP, Weight Watchers, and quit smoking, and there's some dental floss out there as well.
And if you don't have forms, you need forms, Julie has those. If you have forms to turn in, Julie will be happy to take those. If you have questions, I'm here, Carolyn's here. And for those of you who wanted to talk to Colonial Life, Ken's in the back behind his laptop. Wait, Ken, come. So he'll be here in between sessions. The next session's at 3:30. If you don't have any questions you want to ask in front of the whole group, you can go. If you'd like to ask questions, anybody feel brave?
I have a question.
Sure.
When you were talking about death of the family, and you were saying on the deductible, I think you were talking about if they can't have other insurance. Can you explain that again?
Okay, the question is about not having other insurance. That doesn't pertain, hang on, let me get back to it.
They're covered, but it's having to do with the HSA.
Yeah, it has to do with the HSA. Come on. It has to do with the HSA, not the, let me see if I can get there from here. Rapid fire. Actually, I should have started from the back because it's closer to it. Okay, can anybody read that? It's going too fast. Speed reading. Do sound effects. Eligibility. Come on, here we go. Yeah, to be eligible for the HSA, you must not have other health insurance and not claimed as a dependent. Is that the part you were questioning? Okay. Specifically,
The employee must not have
correct. The employee.
the deductible or the dependents.
Carolyn, would that be true if the dependents were on someone else's plan? Could the employee still have the deductible? Let's say there's a shared custody agreement and the kids are on dad's coverage and
Sure.
mom's here.
There's only the account holder that can't have coverage anyplace else, so the spouse can, the kids can. And you can use your HSA funds for those children on other plans, even if they're not on your plan here.
Did that answer your question? Thank you. Anybody else?
What's the max, is there a max on the out-of-pocket for the vision, for the eye exam?
I don't believe there's a cap on the vision, no. No. Yes, Melody in the back.
Maybe you should ask that. On the vision, glasses, is that 130 off each set? Or
Nope.
100?
Pick one.
Pick one or the other. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, I've been there. No, it's pick one.
1 year frame, 1 year.
Yeah, it's typically what people do is they get frames and lenses 1 year and get contact lenses the next and just rotate them. Anybody else? If you do have other questions, you think of things later, you know where to find us, Julie. Yes, ma'am.
They were talking that you didn't review the rates.
No, I did not review the rates.
You wanted to review the rates.
I didn't want to review the rates.
Okay.
Carolyn, do you want to talk about the rates? You can talk about the rate, the overall premiums on the covers this year, what?
Oh, the overall premiums went up about right around 6% by the time you add in the Affordable Care Act taxes and fees. You know, we talk about that every year, so really very, very minimal increase.
And what were most people saying overall?
Oh, trend is running 13-14%.
So we came in about half of what everybody else is seeing on our increases. So we came in very well.
This lady has a question, so maybe other folks would have the same question, and that's progressive lenses. Progressive lenses just means it takes the line out on bifocals or trifocals. So if that's an issue for you, you're going to want the expanded plan. If you have regular lenses, which will be covered in 100% on both of them, the lens itself, then you want the basic plan. You want the line out.
Yeah, and the line is, will give you a headache. So the progressive lenses are not transitional lenses that change to sunglasses. Progressive lenses are, if you have bifocals or trifocals, you don't have that obnoxious line. It just progresses from one to the next. Yes, Lauren?
But it doesn't pay for anything else like anti-glare?
No.
Even if the doctor prescribes
No.
that's a...
No, because that's totally on your own on that. You can use your HSA to pay for your eye care.
Do you have to be in, if you're enrolled into it, the vision, do you stay in it for the entire year, or can you get out at any time?
Carolyn, if you want to opt out, let's say you get into VSP in January and July, you're like, yeah, it's not working for me, can you bail?
No. It's going to be like any other
So
coverage.
please, this is
because
last
it's
call
coming
for
out of
flower
your
fund.
tax.
Again, last call for flower fund.
It's going to be anything else so that you can opt out if you have a change in status, if you get married or divorced or you have a baby, you can change any of your coverages. But if you just are, I'm tired of paying for it, you're stuck. For 1 year.
For the year.
For the year.
Yeah, for the year. Our rates for this, though, are for 2 years. So we're locked into these rates for 2 years on the vision, but your coverage is year to year. Anybody else? Okay, well, thank you. If you have forms to turn in, Julie will take them. If you need forms to turn in, Julie can hand those out. Candace here in the back, what?